Traders, welcome back to the channel. The daily watch list is upon us. I'm going to give you the hottest stocks for options trading going into tomorrow. Now, it's worth noting that market took an absolute beating today. Yellen versus Jerome Powell, and it looks like Yellen may have the upper hand. Now, before I get into this video, I do want to say this is not financial advice, and I don't want to give you a full disclaimer on that, but I also want to highlight that you need to take into account markets do move in opposite directions sometimes. So I am predicting that we may get a bounce going into tomorrow just based on how the market is moving currently at this moment. We did have great earnings to end the day, so this could be pushing the market in a very positive direction, and that's kind of what I'm trading based on. So I do want to focus on that. However, Biden, Yellen, they could come out and say something totally radical tomorrow and absolutely tank the market once again. So take that into account. You should always use me as an indicator and don't trade blindly off of one indicator. Use multiple and fact check and make sure this guy knows what he's talking about. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get to it. All right, traders, so we got a few problems. As you can see, we're at 5% on the iPad, and I didn't feel like charging it for the video, and I got to do a live stream after this, so we need to run it. Let's get straight to it. This is going to be Lockheed Martin. LMT is the ticker. I'm expecting these guys to perform very good going into tomorrow. The Dow was one of the best recovery sectors on the end of the day. They recovered far better than the Nasdaq and far better than SPY, getting a flag. It really just had somewhat of a correction today, coming back down. I want to see a push back to these local highs of 393, possibly even 391 is where I'd be targeting. The OBV looks phenomenal as well. You can actually see those double tops there, and then we got a breakout of that. So that's indicating this is going to be breaking this local high that we currently have on the 30-minute chart that we're looking at right here. So again, as we pull out here, you can see pull out, we have this double top right there, and actually the OBV is breaking above right here, and we're actually at a lower range breaking out of this flag. I'm very bullish on LMT going into tomorrow. Again, targets 391 to 393. Take profits as you will. Next stock, Square Cash, ticker symbol SQ. Now this one's pretty big. We got earnings coming up on Thursday. Obviously not trying to hold until earnings. I want to make my money get out. So as we can see, we're sitting on this major support. I've been begging for this opportunity, and we got it. One thing I do want to say, I think Square will smash earnings. That's worth noting. Their Bitcoin transactions are probably through the roof as well, so that's going to make them a fair bit of money, and their growth is phenomenal. Small businesses love these guys, so I see them doing very well. Ultimately, as a day trade, I want to be targeting this 237, sorry, not 337, 238 range. It could go a little bit higher. Once this stock gets moving, tech hasn't even had that recovery yet, but I'm telling you, this is going to be really big earnings. Potentially could hold through if you're feeling a little bit risky. I don't know my move yet. I'll have another update tomorrow, so stay tuned to see if I hold through earnings tomorrow. But looking at the OB as well, there's tons of buyers. It does not represent this whole dump that we've had down to the downside. The buyers remain on this stock. That's not that big of a sell. And you're also seeing the OB creeping back up, looking for a major push. This could be a massive recovery and a huge breakout, maybe to 240. Now, for the number 3 pick, it's basically a tie. There's two number 3s, so we're going to go to the first one right now. DocuSign is number 3. Now, DOCU. Now, I also want to mention I'm heavily into oil, and people are like, Tyler, you're pumping oil. I'm not pumping oil. I can't pump a commodity. Are you kidding me? I got like 17K subs. I love you all, but you are not strong enough to pump oil. So let's get into this. So it's worth noting, I'm not going to mention oil in the video. I mentioned them yesterday. They're absolutely ripping. Keep looking at oil. Companies like Zom, Fang, Diamondback, all these other companies as well, Shell, they're all doing very well. So one thing I want to point out, DocuSign, OBV, unlike Square, is getting absolutely torched. We're actually pushing very far down. This is going to be a more conservative play. I see us mounting VWAP, getting back above the support for a little bit, and then getting a short push, maybe to 207.8. Maybe 207.5. Really quick trade, about $3 price range. You have no earnings, nothing like that coming up on this stock. So the implied volatility may be a little bit lower, and the option should be a little bit cheaper. That's what I'd be looking at there. Again, about 207 flat to 207.5 is that target range right there. Maybe you get a little bit above. That box represents the resistance. So I'd be looking to take profits a little bit before that if you can get in before we start that first leg up. Now, this one was a little bit interesting. This was the runner-up for third place, basically a tie. Adobe's the chart that looks more phenomenal, if that's the word to use in this case, compared to DocuSign. Now, we're getting that push down today. We had a gap right here. We pushed all the way down to that monthly resistance, tracing back up, getting back above VWAP as well. That's the really important part. Getting back above that VWAP, you're seeing that wedge coming down as well on the OBV, getting a strong break back up, which we did not get on DocuSign yet. I do anticipate that coming into tomorrow. DocuSign is performing very well year over year, even with COVID showing up. I think they're going to keep performing very well in the coming years and months, so that's worth noting. I like a bigger push here going up to about 500. I think 498 to 500 is going to be a pretty big resistance. I don't know if we hit that 500 mark just because it's such a mental level, so that's going to be big, at least on this week. It could take a little bit longer, but I think that gap is in fact going to get filled. So let's point that out right there. The gap is filled right here, about 502, 503 range up there. That's where the gap takes to get filled. I think there's a lot of room to run. We're getting it back above VWAP. That was a very good part about the end of the day. So to see some sideways action and a push back to the upside. Now, I want to highlight a few things before we hop off. First, I absolutely shredded that. I always slay. Now, as we're looking here, the market, how do we see it moving in the after hours? That's one thing I'm always following. If you're into trading, you're into day trading, you're trying to get into day trading, what you need to be doing is always following the Nasdaq and the Dow on the after hours, and occasionally following the Nike and some of the Euro indexes as well, but heavily following the Nasdaq and following the Dow. Those move all the time, Monday through Friday. They are moving constantly. They fully running. They don't close at market close. They are moving all day long and all night long. So you need to be watching those to kind of see how the market's moving. I don't do too much education on the channel, so please listen to what I'm saying. There's two time zones that really matters, or two times that really matters. There's the Japanese Open, and then there's a London Open. Those times really tell you which direction we're going to be moving for the next day. Now, we saw Japan and Asia open up very weak yesterday, which kind of opened the door for today's very poor close, and then Yellen put the icing on the cake. Now, London has been pretty influential as well, but those openings kind of tell you how we'll move, and typically we get some volatility at those opens and at those closes as well. I encourage you to look into this and kind of invest some time and to try to get some knowledge on this subject. Primarily, it will definitely improve your trading game if you're interested in getting better at day trading. Or you can just stay tuned and listen to the daily watch list and just get my pickups for the day. That's going to wrap the video up. I really like what's going on in the market. I like the brutal drop that we had because now we're getting a revamp back up. Earnings are showing that we're looking to continue the growth. I think interest rates have people scared, but overall, the market looks good. That's all for today. Have a good one, traders. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do. See you tomorrow. Namaste.
Check. The grills in my mouth, double